Good morning, and welcome to the Media Speaks Live Saturday morning news show. I'm D. Lake for Prez. David Lake. I was like, what's up? I'm D. Lake for Prez. Hey, it was just my birthday this past week, and thanks everyone on Facebook for wishing me a happy birthday. We have a great, thank you guys, thank you. We have a great and tremendous show planned for you today, talking about ISIS war propaganda and the propaganda war itself. Young London schoolgirls are traveling to Syria to join Isil. We're going to get into that. A couple other things. Obama talking about the 99.9% of boring Muslims. And also a term that I just became aware of this week, stray voltage. Can't wait to get into all that. We're joined by Kyle Phillips of The Media Speaks. Nose Hair 515.
Thanks, D-Lake. Pleasure to be here. I am married Superman, apparently.
Looking good, Superman. We're also joined by Sam Ibidiganji, Sam of The Correct Views, and the band Passing Time, Samuel.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Sam Ibidiganji here, welcoming you to the Saturday edition, or as some people call me, the unmarried Batman.
There you go. Sam, 3 missing London schoolgirls traveling to Syria to join ISIL. If you'll allow me to go to my screen share, I can bring up the article on thetelegraph.co.uk.
I'm going to be like the one that gets all the hate comments this week, so I understand this, but I have next to no sympathy for them whatsoever. Yes, I was young and stupid once. I got older. In any event, even as a very young person, I remember once I was going to try to convince this girl that I liked to run away with me. And it was like to Florida, to this like uncle's house. I knew that because they didn't, in my mind at the time anyway, they didn't like my parents, so they weren't going to tell them. That was like the extent of it. This here, I've never been that stupid. I don't know anyone that's ever been that stupid. And if you join ISIS, even if you're a teenager, you have it coming. I'm sorry. Does anybody listening feel the same?
I have to agree with you, yeah. I mean,
Kyle,
everybody gets stupid shit when they're young, but there's a big difference between Florida running away to join the Islamic State.
I know, being a Grateful Dead groupie or some kind of rap groupie versus Metropolitan Police, extremely concerned about 3 teenage girls from East London school believed to be attempting to travel to Syria via Turkey. So they're going to Turkey first to attempt to make their way to Syria. Why? Why? To join ISIL. Why? The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Police are appealing for help to find 3 schoolgirls who have gone missing and are thought to have traveled, with 2 L's because this is written in the UK, to Turkey with the intention of crossing the border into Syria. They are Shamima. She might be going by the name Aklina. There's Khadiza, and the third girl, 15, not being named by the request of her family. Police fear the girls, all pupils at the Bethnal Green Academy, who knows what they're teaching these young girls there, in East London, okay, so at least they're not American, thank heavens, might be heading to join terror group ISIL, and I hate the way that they spell it like a word now, instead of an acronym. It should be ISIL, all caps, but it's not. It's like a word now. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, also known as Islamic State. They traveled from their homes on Tuesday, February 17th, that was this past week, and boarded a Turkish Airlines flight to Istanbul. Commander Richard Walton of Scotland Yard's Counterterrorism Unit described the girls as straight A students and normal girls. Kyle, what straight A student, normal girls do you know are going to go travel to Syria to join ISIL? I mean, what's the point?
Well,
we want to be
David,
great.
that happened. I can tell you why that happened, David. I can tell you why that happened. The teacher was afraid that if you didn't give her an A, she was going to cut his head off.
No, well, I went to a bar the other day, and I saw there were a few people I went to high school with, and I was talking to different people. What are you up to? Oh, I'm working in a mechanic shop. I just got a place with my girlfriend, you know, shooting the shit. I'm like, hey, whatever happened to Terry? Where's Terry at? And they're like, oh, you didn't hear? Terry joined the Islamic State. Like, that hasn't happened.
For real?
And like, I wonder what they think is going to happen when they get there. Like, they're essentially going to be, like, almost prisoners. Like, it's like, I want to go join the Islamic State where I can't, like, I have to wear a burqa and I'm just going to be, like, pawned off to some general as a wife. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, didn't you hear the stories of the girls from Germany who were begging to come home? Like, it's
It
not.
reminds me of I don't know, Kyle, if we've mentioned. I know we've mentioned him on the show when D-Lake and I were in the process of trying to make a little mini doc about him. There's a band called My Life with the Throat Cult, which was something that was based. The name is based on a movie that they were originally going to write on their first CD. And I remember this sample that was it's in their video collection. If anyone listening has it, they'll know what I mean. There's a sample of a girl going, it's like she's on a phone. It goes, "Mom, I have to tell you all about my life. My life with the Thrill Kill cult." And she says it like this brainwashed, gushing, obviously acting, this gushing, cult-inspired, happy call. And it reminds me of these idiots that join ISIS. They somehow don't know about all the rape that happens, even when they admit to, whenever they concede to marrying them.
Yeah, and if you get raped over there, it's your fault. Like, it's a bad situation. Like, I want to point out too, like, the parent saying, like, we don't want our daughter to be named, and we're all surprised and we have no idea how this could happen. Like, Sam, you were raised Christian, right?
Yes.
Did you ever have, like, an impulse to go join the Westboro Baptist Church? I hate to keep drawing this parallel, but have you ever heard of
It's such a perfect parallel. It's such a perfect parallel. It's the absolute worst of the religion. And it makes you wonder, because I got a sneezing spell halfway through my last sentence. Good, thank you, Kyle, for saving me. It amazes me because if they concede and they do marry, they're subjected to the most brutal rapes, the most humiliating of acts. They dress you up like the Grim Freaking Reaper. Please, anyone that wants to know how ISIS treats the people they marry, please check out my last posting on the Correct Views on YouTube. It's up, and you're gonna want to read. You're gonna want to hear it.
Excellent, Sam. It says in the article exactly what you're saying. It is an extremely dangerous place, and we have seen reports of what life is like for them and how restricted their lives become. It is not uncommon for girls or women to be prevented from being allowed out of their houses, or if allowed out, only when accompanied by a guardian. The choice of returning home from Syria is often taken away from those under the control of Islamic State, leaving their families in the UK devastated and with very few options to secure their safe return. If we were able to locate these girls whilst they're still in Turkey, we have a good possibility of being able to bring them home to their families.
Do we want them back? I mean, let's be real, and I mean, not us, obviously. We don't live in London, but does London want them back? I mean, not like, these are people who are willing to go join ISIS. Like, even if you do get them back, they're definitely a terror threat, right? They're somebody that you have to constantly monitor. On top of the fact that, like, even though they're teenagers, like, all Western countries have laws about defecting to join foreign militaries, and that's not that's a serious offense. Like, those girls in Germany, they said even if we could get them back, they're not allowed back. Like, they went to fight with an enemy. Like, if you left the United States to go join the Nazis, like, you're not fucking coming back when you realize it's a bad idea. You fucked up.
Yeah, Kyle, last year twin teenage sisters Zahara and Salma disappeared from their home in Manchester, in the United Kingdom, and flew to Istanbul bound for Syria. It is thought that the girls, who were just 16 at the time, were academic high flyers. In other words, they had really good grades. Followed their older brother, who is believed to be a jihadist fighter in the region. Now, see, one of the things that I wanted to point out, Kyle, is we're going to see a lot of reports about straight-A student young girls from the UK going there to try to fight with Isil or whatever, but what doesn't really get mentioned is all the young men. Because, I mean, young men going to battle is just sort of a preconceived notion, but their women and their sisters following in their footsteps is sort of new. The pair, the twins, who had dreamed of pursuing medical careers, later became jihadi brides who were widowed when both their husbands were killed fighting for ISIL.
Let me put something out there, D-Like, that I bet you hadn't thought of. I don't care what generation you are, you can take it back to the swinging 20s if you want to, with the zoot suits and the chains that destroyed fashion. You can go to the 70s, the punk rock movement, the orange hair, the anarchy in the UK. You can go to the 90s, and the rebellion was everywhere. Did you ever imagine that the worst times in our life will be when the youth of the given generation, any generation, their problems would be they conform too much. They don't rebel. They don't ever want to say anything to offend somebody. They don't ever want to say anything that might be socially unacceptable. And the quote-unquote cool, extreme thing to do isn't to do acid and spray paint anarchy on the side of a police car. It's to join the most restrictive of regimes, the most closed-minded of people in the world that is extant during the time period that you have. Did you ever think that that would happen?
I have to say, based on what you just said, Sam, here's my public announcement to the youth of not just the United States, but all Western countries. If you're thinking about joining ISIS, just do me a favor. Before you go, before you actually get on a plane, go to Turkey, and then sneak into Syria, just do this one thing for me. Do some shrooms and watch Pink Floyd's The Wall. Just do that. And then think about it, and maybe you'll change your mind, maybe not, but just do that for me. Do some shrooms, watch Pink Floyd's The Wall, and just think about it. Think about what your decisions are going to be.
You think that doing those mushrooms and watching that Pink Floyd movie could influence someone away from
imagine
joining ISIS?
Imagine.
I mean, this is the propaganda war. No, look, guys. Obama says this week that the Muslim elders and the 99.9% of peaceful Muslims are too boring. They're not winning the propaganda war. They don't have the online magazines. They don't have the social media. They don't have the Twitter. They don't have the Facebook. They don't have the rap music. They don't have the cool Middle Eastern hip-hop songs that get all these people from the UK and young schoolgirls with straight A grades go in there to fight and die and be raped and marry a jihadi soldier that's going to die fighting the infidels? I mean, come on!
Well, and this is my point that I'm calling. People aren't going to like hearing this,
you're
but...
You're too boring, Kyle. You're not winning the war, the propaganda war.
And I'm glad that they're at least acknowledging it as a propaganda war, which I said last week this needs to be. It needs to be about propaganda. We need CIA assets going in there and starting television stations that preach our ideal version of Islam and get people on board without them even knowing that we need to use positive brainwashing. And to say the 99% of good Muslims, like, everybody has that uncle who you'll be out at dinner with him and you'll have a black waiter and he'll be really nice to that black waiter, but you know that when he gets home he says like some of the most racist shit on the planet, and he might seem nice outwardly, and I'm sorry, a kid who decides to go join ISIS didn't just randomly come to that conclusion on their own. They were raised in a home that maybe doesn't support ISIS, but maybe doesn't stand against them. You know what I mean? Like, those parents... And I could be wrong. It could be just a fluke, but something tells me these parents aren't innocent either. Like, they were raised in a home that most likely supports Islamic extremism. You don't come to the conclusion that you want to go join ISIS when you're 15 without something happening at home first. Is that like going too far?
I agree with that.
Maybe not, but also, what if they simply, again, like every kid does, hate their parents. Every kid goes through it, so you hate your parents, and you've been raised in a society where you don't rebel in ways that people have rebelled for the last. Well, let's be realistic. Within the way people have rebelled, say for the last 150 years, during modern times, you have not seen that be the case. So what do? You show you hate your parents by joining ISIS. But again, it's odd because the analogy you would use then, during the Roaring '20s, you weren't going to speakeasies to drink bathtub gin. You were joining the Puritan movement that was popular at the time. It doesn't make any sense. This has never happened before.
Well, yeah, but I
Can't we
can't
just
see
be
it as
flower
rebellion against the parents
children?
because to go back to the Christian equivalent, I mean that's like being raised in like a very light, Christianity, like
And you
something.
listen to Marilyn Manson, or you listen to Slayer, or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Can't we
Yes,
just listen
you
to
don't
some heavy
rebel
metal?
if your parents are Lutherans, you don't rebel by becoming a fundamentalist Catholic. Like you rebel by becoming an atheist or
Yeah,
listening to
yeah.
death metal.
There's nothing to compare this to because this
There
hasn't
isn't.
happened. It's not a matter of age. It wouldn't make sense to anybody you told it to, and if you explained it to somebody that was younger, even they would be like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense."
No,
All right,
and that's
guys.
what I'm saying is I don't see this as rebellion. I see this as them coming from families that have leanings more towards extremism than they do like what we would consider westernized Muslims. There, I
Right,
mean,
gentlemen. How do you feel? How do you feel about the fate of these three young girls? And do you wish them safe return to their family? If they want to go join ISIL, do you think they should just go do that? I mean, the police are looking for them in Turkey to try to prevent them from
I
going to
don't feel
Syria and
bad
joining
for them, and I'll
ISIL.
tell you why.
Okay.
When I was growing up, there was a well, hell, I could say his name. It's not slander. He's doing time for it. His name is Henry Sunderman. When people look him up, please don't do it if you've eaten. I'm not kidding. It's not a joke. Um, he, I'm not high. I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. It's so bad. He took his hand and put it inside a male infant to such a degree that the male infant, the inside sort of came out and the baby died. Everyone wanted to see, and he did this when he was in, as I say, or late 20s, or mid 20s at the latest. So, I mean, they'd found out later on that he had probably been messing with his other relative at a very young age, possibly around the ages of
it
14 to
wasn't a one-time.
17, and got away with it. And then later on killed
Sam, this is disgusting.
Now that would be two people that we know for sure that this monster had done this to. Before anybody says that you just need to forgive these girls, these monsters are doing so much worse to people. He didn't. I mean, compared to setting a family on fire, killing 21 people that didn't do anything to you, raping 9-year-old girls, which I reported on that ISIS did in my last report. If you weren't going to forgive that piece of human filth that I almost couldn't even tell the story about, then how are you going to forgive these girls who are going and joining people who they know have done worse than the Henry Sunderman story that I gave you? That's my answer to
I
it,
think,
for sure.
like, to sum up what you just said, like, you can look at anything that somebody does, even like somebody goes on a shooting spree.
He's the worst person that I ever knew. He's the worst person I could ever say I knew.
Yeah, you might be killing somebody, you might be doing something that's horrible, but we're talking about an isolated case with things like that. What these girls are doing is they're supporting a perpetual state of Sharia law in a multinational part of the world. They're supporting perpetual shaming of women, beheadings of people.
But it's not even Sharia law.
Sorcery.
Rape is illegal under Sharia law. It's not even Sharia.
Yeah, but wait, Kyle, you were going on. That was a good point to me, though. The way that they are, supporting it and perpetuating it, and I mean, well, what does that mean to you, Kyle? I mean, how can you put that into a context that Americans can understand?
I don't know. It's hard. I can't fathom it, especially even if you're somebody who like secretly loves ISIS, living in the United States or Britain or any part of the Western world, and you go out on the street and you pretend that you don't believe in those things, but behind closed doors you really do. All right, let's say that you're that person. How do you leave air conditioning, Burger King, Nintendo, like J.C. Penney's. Like, how do you leave this? How do you leave society that we're a part of
For
to
what?
go
Camels,
run around
dirt,
in sand
sand.
and be like the 15-year-old wife of some 50-year-old general in a terrorist organization? Like, even if you believe in that terrorist organization, like, the quality of life in the Middle East is substantially lower than it is in London. Like, you have a great thing going in London. Like, I don't understand like how you make the I can I can understand in my head how somebody might support ISIS. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying I support ISIS, but I'm saying I can see how somebody could be in that mindset. I don't see how you can be so much in that mindset that you're going to leave like essentially the lap of luxury to go live in like third world medieval
Kyle,
land.
you did such a good job of summing mine up. Let me see if I'm right. Not only what I was saying, are you so unbelievably evil, but you're basically saying that these girls don't even have the common sense to be selfish.
Yes, exactly. Like it's the ultimate selfless act for evil. There's so many layers to it, and I'm glad that Obama is acknowledging finally that it's a propaganda war, and we need to start getting on the offense. We've been on the defense this entire time, not really doing anything except holding the line. We need to do something.
In that propaganda war, Barack Obama Muslim elders are too boring to win the ISIL propaganda war. He says, by the way, to the older people here, as wise and respected as you may be, your stuff is often boring, he told the White House summit on combating the rise of extremism. Compared to what they're doing, you're not connected. As a consequence, you're not connecting. Obama said it was time to be honest, that the slickly produced ISIL videos of fighting scenes, beheadings, and other atrocities were succeeding in brainwashing young Muslims. So,
and I will say, because I think it's important to give credit where credit's due, if there's anyone who can win a propaganda war for this country, it's Obama. I mean, look at how he ran his campaign. Look at how he energized the youth to get them to come out to the voting places and put him in office. Like, if there's anybody who knows how to inspire youth, like, it is Obama. So
yeah, again, one of the things I think we'd all here agree on is, except for Bill Clinton, who was simply God dipped him 10 times in the lucky machine in terms of how he speaks. Other than Clinton, who I also didn't like, but I'll give credit where it's due, Obama is a phenomenal speaker. Now, granted, he's reading, but whatever. He
essentially gives a backhanded compliment. He essentially gives a backhanded compliment to ISIS, and he gives a backhanded compliment to ISIS and ISIL, as he refers to them, and that they're doing a great job. Like the beheading videos and all these other slickly produced videos are getting high school girls to go to Syria. Kyle.
Juice for ISIS. What the fuck?
I mean, how great, how slick and great is their production, Kyle? I mean, they got green screen. They got more green screens than you. Come on.
Well, I do have some good news for you, D. Like that, when these girls go to ISIL and they're gonna have to escape, in 5 or 6 years. So if she's 15 now, she gets sick of this and she gets back to the country when she's 23. What you're going to have is a girl that has been indoctrinated. Get ready, has been indoctrinated to like beards. And things could be really good for you in a few years. I'm just saying. When they come back into society, I'm just saying.
Well, that's exciting news, Sam. Thanks for pointing that out.
You've got to work on new pickup lines. Like, you're sitting in a bar and you see like a young 23, 24-year-old cute girl who's obviously Islamic, Middle Eastern, just kind of like go up, start rubbing your beard a little bit, and just be like, 9/11 wasn't that bad. And then
well, here, let me give some hope to these girls. I have them pictured on my page, and like I would date these girls. They're very attractive to me.
No, they're off the market. They're with 50-year-old ISIS generals now.
And before anybody says, oh my God, look how crude they're being, all right, we can be serious. What we're saying is a crude joke. What they are signing themselves up for is a disastrous life. So they've already done far worse to themselves than us being inappropriate.
I'm like, this girl right here, I'm like, Kadzia, why are you going to go to Syria? Why don't you just come to America? I'll let you take this thing off your head. We'll get you some nice, cool glasses. You could drive a car. You could drive my car. You could drive me around.
This is ice cream. This is ice cream. It's delicious. Go ahead.
Yeah, here, take a lick.
Have some ice cream.
Yeah.
Have you watched Friends? Let's watch Friends. Let's just sit down and watch like
it's on
season 1
Netflix.
of Friends.
What is Netflix, D-Leg? Just shut up and watch it. It's good. It's good.
Shut up and watch Friends. It's gonna be awesome. Trust me.
You tell me to shut up. You're just like ISIS.
It's cool. Have some more ice cream. Look, I got a Choco Taco for you. It's got your name written on it.
Yeah. Oh, I love the chocolate taco, D-Leg. I'm like, fuck yeah.
They're good. I used to get them all the time when I was little.
And film a YouTube video of you eating.
For anybody who's getting mad, like making light of the situation and making jokes, there is a method to the madness. I believe, like in the example of somebody who goes and shoots up a school, like Columbine kids, when you say what was in their mind and what caused this, and we need to focus on bullying and blah blah blah, and find out how we can fix them so that this doesn't happen again. You're playing into their, you're doing what they want you to do. You're sympathizing for them after they've done a horrendous thing. The reason, like the example like Columbine, they shot up the school because they were tired of being made fun of, right? And they didn't want to be made fun of anymore. And in a way, they got what they were after. Now, this might sound cruel and heartless to some people, but if you make fun of them after the fact, you pay no fucking homage to them. Don't give them what they want. And if they think that what they're going to get out of doing something like that is to be made fun of more, they won't do it because that's the opposite of their end goal. So you can't sympathize with people who do horrible things. It's as simple as that. You should be mean about it. Like, that's how society works. If people are mean about something, if something's deemed unacceptable and you're going to get some shit,
if you are, I'm sorry, I got a delay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sam, wake up.
Sam, are you there? Right.
Sam died. But
Kyle, I did want to get in. I did today want to get into some of Obama's statements that were made this week, and if you're checking out the news this morning, you're seeing a bunch of Rudy Giuliani stuff saying that the president's not, he doesn't love America. But in his
it just sounds like him. It just sounds like a dude talking shit. It didn't seem like it was really based on anything.
And some Republicans are like, "You're making us look bad." And it's like, "Where's your proof?" It's just conjecture. But President Obama, in his bloviating speech on Thursday at his summit on countering violent extremism, which is what he calls ISIS terrorism, President Obama bent over backwards to make nice with Islam while he was meeting with a bunch of heads of the Muslim communities. Not only were terrorists not Muslim, President Obama stated, but Islam played a crucial role in America's founding. Here in America, Obama stated, Islam has been woven into the fabric of our country since its founding. Obama seems significantly more comfortable with this characterization of the historical role of Islam than he is with the non-fictional, actual historic role of Christianity and Judaism in the American founding. He's like, oh, the Muslims have been here since 1890 when they founded their first mosque, and although, as I mentioned, we have a very large Christian population, we do not consider ourselves a Christian nation, Sam, or a Jewish nation, Sam, or a Muslim nation, Sammy.
The other interesting thing, too, that I would like to add, and I've only found this out recently, I used to be in the camp that believed that the Crusades, and let me finish all this before you think I've lost my mind, that the Crusades were this period in Christianity when they had absolutely lost their minds. If that was ever the case, that would be the small sect of Catholics who ran the Inquisition. The Crusades had vile people in it, just like the Iraqi War had a few vile people in the army of the U.S. But 99% of the soldiers were not out shooting people for fun. They were not raping people at Guantanamo Bay. Most of them were your average soldiers that you'd find in any other country. Just average people. The Crusades were the same way. The Crusades happened, and again, they got brutal once people got the power and started leading the Crusades. The more power they got, the greedier they got. That's obviously, that we know that. But people don't realize that the Crusades were begun because of radical Islam, because of the way they were taking over towns, burning towns, kidnapping women, raping women, and then of course you also had the remainders of what of course at that time was the Vikings, which as Michael Savage pointed out about a week ago, he very succinctly, what were the Vikings? The Vikings were people that acted like Islamist terrorists, weren't Islamic, mind you, they were paganistic. And they were going from town to town to town and raping people and hurting people. And the Crusades largely came about to fight those two things. It was not Christianity just raising the sword and going through cities and burning towns. It was a reaction to, among other things, radical Islam. And that is historical fact. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And I mentioned that, D. Lake, not to interrupt your story, but it's part of what Obama said in that speech, making this parallel between what they're doing and the Crusades. So I actually looked the Crusades up and was quite interested to find out that that was not the case.
Right, and in his most recent remarks, saying, talking about Islam being woven into the fabric of our founding in the United States, and how they helped lay the railroads and all this other stuff, and he makes it sound like we're a pie split three ways: Christian, Judaism, and the Muslim there, and all this other stuff. And this Breitbart article basically points out all the ways that what he says isn't quite accurate.
Yeah,
on Glenn Beck's program, I watched. Did Muslims play a role in the founding of the country? Here's what David Barton, historian, had to say.
I got a question. Let's see if I'm right before you read it. It was founded on either a minor atheism, there's four religions: Masonry, Puritanism, and Quakerism. Should be the four that the country was founded upon if you're going to count atheism. But see if I'm right on any of them.
It's getting way too complicated for me.
Yeah, Sam. They don't mention Quakerism. They pretty much focused in on the Islam, and Obama says they're woven into the founding, and they sort of dispel that.
Those four was what the founders were. Is what I mean. That was.
I sent Kyle the link this morning. Did you watch that Glenn Becky broadcasty there, Kyle?
Yeah, I got through it.
He's a jackass.
Yeah. But how did you feel about the points that David Barton, the guest on the show, was making?
Well,
some of the historical...
sounded like I was kind of listening while I was cleaning up, getting ready for the show, and it sounded like his main point is Islam was here, but it was like a minority, and they were actually slaves.
They were like the slave traders. They were
they were kind of like the reason we had slavery, which that's a stretch. You know what I mean? It's.
All right.
It's hard to take something like that without a grain of salt, considering the situation we're in and the propaganda that's already been put out, and that it's the Glenn Beck show. But yeah, his point was there was a fractional minority, and they were the slave traders, right?
Well, talking about the founders, Jefferson already knew of Islam. Thomas Jefferson, having been educated in 1786 after Barbary pirates attempted to blackmail America into monetary tribute. At the time, the Barbary emissary justified piracy with reference to the Quran. According to a report from Jefferson, the ambassador answered us that it was founded on the laws of the Prophet, that it was written in their Quran that all nations who should not have acknowledged their authority were sinners, the infidels, that it was their right and duty to make war upon them whenever they could be found, and to make slaves of all they could take as prisoners. So that sounds like a great, amazing thing woven into the fabric of our history, and we should immediately go join that and leave our fancy air conditioning in the UK to be a part of that, Kyle. And who's winning this propaganda war? The elders are too boring.
That story of these Islamic pirates, it sounds like an awesome episode of Star Trek. Just replace boat with spaceship.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like that sounds like an episode where it would just be like some like fucked up aliens that they run into who are like, "You must pay us tribute for our religion," and Captain Kirk's like,
You must
"We
pay
don't
us
give a
tribute.
fuck about your religion." You know?
Another good idea, Kyle, could be if anybody in America is going to run away to ISIS, maybe at first you should run away to one of our deserts. You should build yourself a nice mud hut and live there any month you want. It could be winter or summer. They're both going to work just fine. Pick one solid month to sit in that mud hut and worship Allah
Just get
before
a
you
feel
move
for
in,
it. Yeah.
before you move anywhere at all.
Do the 30-day free trial before you actually jump into a membership.
Yeah.
That
You
makes
will
sense to
bow
me.
to the rising sun, and you got to sing the songs and all that. You got to learn the lyrics to the songs, right? I mean, there's probably a whole training program. Do they show the TSA active shooter training video? I mean, are there videos to watch when you first join ISIS? I mean, I'm sure there are, Kyle,
And if,
right? The
that,
beheading?
and if
For sure,
after
yeah.
30 days you like your plan, we'll give you a free handsome carrying case with a bomb in it.
Yeah,
I
so are
picture
these
like
girls going there like they're saying like this is going to be a 30-day trial? Like, girls, get home!
I picture like shitty like retail like new hire training videos. Like if you've ever worked at like a store or like a fast food place, how you gotta watch like
So,
those
yeah.
shitty videos. Like, so you have decided to join ISIS. Welcome to our team. You know, like as an ISIS member, you would be expected.
Yeah.
I'd like fuck. I want to get my hands on those videos if that's the case.
As
That
a
sounds.
nicest member, you will... you,
You will be provided with one burqa, and on every year of your anniversary of joining ISIS, you will receive a free new burqa.
yeah.
Employee
Yeah, it's like
discounts.
everyone comes into the office like, when do I get my mask in AK-47? You know, what?
Have you finished the training videos?
When can I get to my AK-47? President Obama's rhetoric refuses to address the very real issue: terrorism on our borders and sleeper cells within the United States. His disdain for our founding principles has become overtly apparent to a majority of Americans, if you say so. A communist New World Order agenda appears to be playing out in its final stages before our very eyes, according to John Bound on
That's how you know
Infowars.com.
you're reading an Infowars article, by the way.
Yeah. Now, thousands of illegals from Syria are being brought into the United States, a perfect cover for Al-Qaeda and ISIS to infiltrate and activate the dormant Islamic extremist terroristic cells nested and blatantly ignored by our government in the heartland of the United States. Guess what website I am on? Oh, you know what? That would be a good game, Kyle, that we should create, where I'm not showing it to you on screen share like I am now, but I'll read a paragraph off a website, and then you guys have to guess what website I am on.
That's
Well,
a
I mean,
great game.
I do think to some degree, though, he's onto something in that I think they would love to bring that here, and I think it's to some degree covered for.
Communist New World Order agenda totally gave away that it was Infowars.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be on the website if I didn't think they had some good stuff on there, for sure.
Oh,
And
for
then-
sure. I'm not hating on them, but it's
Yeah, I love
that's
them.
like it's an Infowars.
Sam,
giveaway.
you're an active member on Planet Infowars, isn't that right?
There's like what's odd is that there are a lot more people on it than you think there are. Like I found that I for those of you that don't know, I'm not going on Facebook because they keep insisting that the show have my name, which is something I'm against because I might it is possible that there will be two people on the correct views, one posting on Tuesday and Thursday. That's in the works. I don't know if it's going to happen. But I don't want it in my name. So I have switched and started pushing the show on Planet Infowars and have not seen a huge reduction in hits or anything. And you get the steady stream of comments. And there are more people on than you think there are. They're supposedly supposed to do a third one as well.
Yeah, you would think that
couple.
like nobody's on there, but it turns out there's one person, Sam. That's
Well,
No, I'm serious. It's the exact.
Sam,
My point is,
Sam.
it's the exact opposite of that.
I actually built up a pretty solid audience a couple of years ago on Planet Infowars, and I'm on Planet Infowars, and I noticed that 2 to 3 years later, it still says beta. This is still the beta version. I find that interesting.
That's what I meant by third one. Yes, I guess you could.
Yeah.
He's coming out with the next version of it. I don't
the
know.
2.0? Or 3.0. Okay. Yeah, that's coming soon.
I think it's supposed to be called Planet InfoWars 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's dropping the day after Obama Deception 2. Part 2.
Empire Strikes Back.
I think after the Empire Strikes Back. No, Sam, seriously though, it's time for us to get into science news. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
It's time to learn some science. So hit Sam with the science front.
Greetings, unsettled souls, and welcome to the news from the science front. This is from Kurt Niemeyer, PrisonPlanet.com. Staying with the ISIS this time, we're going to go to Islamic State continues destruction of antiquities in Iraq. And for those of you that don't know, there is a very exact science to archaeology. Some of these items are so fragile that you have to know what kind of rock it's made out of, so you know what kind of rock or what kind of brush to use to dust it when you bring it out of the ground. Some of this stuff is incredibly, incredibly old. ISIS, the U.S.-trained Wahhabist terror group, is continuing its assault on antiquities. The latest victim is a large portion of the ancient Nineveh Wall of Mosul in Iraq, which dates back 2,700 years. This is the historical place of the ancient Bible years before Christ. These are the birthplace of humanity, according to every knowledge we have, and not just the Bible, for those of you that don't believe. We know that this is where life started. It's scientific fact. Islamist militants blew up today it's a bit dated now, blew up large parts and expanses of the archaeological wall of Nineveh in Al-Tahir neighborhood. Saeed Mimausin, the media official for the Kurdistan Democratic Party in Mosul, told the Iraqi News. The terrorist group used explosives in the process of destroying the archaeological fence. He also characterized the destruction as a flagrant violation of human culture, civilization, and heritage. I would also argue that this would be, if they catch these people, it should be used as a crime against humanity. Does it necessarily mean it should be punishable by death? No, but I would argue that just the same, if you never killed a person but you blew this stuff up, I don't think your life should necessarily be over, but you should have to lose a few decades of your life as an assault against all of humanity. I would be in favor of that.
What about a right hand? Could we chop your right hand off, your right arm?
They would do it to us. Archaeologists consider the site historically important and say that there's a link for this, on par with the legendary Hanging Gardens, thought to be in Babylon. The walls were built by King Sennacherib to protect the capital of ancient Assyria. In August, after ISIS moved into the Nineveh plain and displaced around 200,000 Assyrians, including people who practice some of the oldest forms of Judaism and Christianity known in the world, set their eyes on the destruction of the wall. In July, ISIS blew up a Muslim shrine said to be the burial place of Jonah, the prophet who was swallowed by the whale, according to Hebrew and Muslim stories in the Bible and in the Quran. Oddly enough, I'm not going to get into it now, they've found whales with human remains in them in, I think, like 10 or 12 times now. So in any event, it closes with, around the same time, ISIS destroyed the shrine mosque of the prophet Seth, the son of Adam. So it dates literally back. Like when people say that the Bible is historical, how do we know this? it used to be that they would say, well, because we know where the prophet Seth, who's the son of Adam, was, where his home was, or where his mosque was. Well, now this stuff is being destroyed, and all the people that say there's no proof for these things in the Bible are unfortunately going to be right. It says the mosque was built by the Ottoman governor Mustafa Pasha in 1647 AD. That's when the Islams, of course, took over the... But to Adam and Seth, obviously, they were Hebrew. ISIS also planned to blow up the crooked minaret, but residents prevented the destruction. The tower has stood in Mosul for 800 years. If you blow up the minaret, you'll have to kill us too, a resident had said. What a hero. The Islamic State has targeted over a dozen statues, mosques, and shrines in Iraq because they claim that the sites were visual representation of religious contrary to the interpretation of Islam. It closes with, the fundamentalist selfish people don't think that it is right to go and worship a dead person. Iraqi-British archaeologist Lamia Al-Gianani told National Geographic in August. Keep in mind that Christians and Jews do not believe that they worship dead people, by the way. They are absolutely against that. So they've been doing literally is destroying any shrine, not mosques, but shrines. They did destroy mosques or smaller mosques that belong to the Shiites, but they consider the Shiites as not religious nor Islamic. What's interesting about this is a shrine is not the worship of a dead person. If you have, it's the worship of someone who is alive, or it is the worship of God who you are hoping to redeem the person who is dead. So, I mean, literally, they are destroying, as I just pointed out, for no reason at all, the oldest, most precious signs of where all of us came from. It doesn't matter whether or not you think Adam and Eve were important to your religion. Obviously, for Christians, it follows the lineage of Christ. But if you don't care about that, you would at least care about the historical record for the people that lived immediately after Adam and Eve. His son, we know where he grew up. Who knows what 100 years from now science will actually be able to get from these items? Who knows what they'll be able to do? You wouldn't believe that you wouldn't need encyclopedias 70 years ago. Who knows what you'll be able to do with these things in 500 years? And they are destroying them.
Kind of like the digital dark age we talked about last week, and the way I was thinking. Kyle, what do you think?
No, yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. It sounds similar, where they're destroying things because their belief on them, and it's a problem that a lot of religions have. That is, they want to put their beliefs onto somebody else's thing. Like, for instance, and I'm not making fun of Mormons at all. Mormons are great people, but Mormons don't wear the cross, and they say we don't wear the cross because it symbolizes Jesus' death. Where other Christians will say, no, it doesn't symbolize his death, it symbolizes him dying for our sins. And you can't ascribe your belief to somebody else's thing. And when you're destroying things, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, I would feel the same way about this as somebody destroying Nazi archives. You want that for the historical record.
You and I are doing that thing today where we're like on the same wavelength. Maybe we should go out later. No,
you guys watch too much
I was
Indiana
just thinking the same thing. If you take a Christian and then you say, hey, you know, well, this is an example of it. Actually, I would have been in this situation. My ex-wife's, hello, Daff, we're friends. My ex-wife's family was born and raised in East Germany. And she had these buttons and stuff that you got from the Hitler Youth. Well, that's not the fault of the little kid that had to be in it. And they were kept in the family because of their historical importance. Nobody in my wife's family was ever a Nazi, other than when they were raised that way. And then, of course, you know, they were happy to get out of it like most Germans were. They hadn't done anything wrong, but there were like Nazi coins and things like that that she had. And they were kept not because anybody had this deep love for Hitler or anything like that. I've always been libertarian, pretty much. But it was more of a historical reference. If somebody was to destroy those, most Christians would be like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah, it's the same as I own.
Racist people are nuts.
I own an original copy printed in Peking, China, of quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong. Now, do I agree with the Cultural Revolution of China where millions of people were killed? Do I agree with Mao Zedong and communism? Absolutely not, but that's a piece of history. That's why I bought it. It should be preserved.
I mean, again, to go back to last week's show, and everyone please check that out. It's on my channel, David Lake. We're back on themediaspeaks.com, but last week we talked about that Hitler painting selling for more than a Picasso at auction. And
if somebody was I'm going to buy this painting to destroy it, I would be pissed. Don't destroy that. That is a piece of history.
Exactly.
And for people that would say, why does it matter? All right, if we go on our time machine and we go 2,000 years ahead, and you say, we can't have a leader like this. This leads to something like Adolf Hitler. Somebody will say, you can't even prove that Adolf Hitler even lived. That's a myth.
Yeah.
It would be the same thing. That's what they're doing here.
Yeah, they're creating a historical gap, and we don't want those. Just like the technological dark age that we were talking about last week. So yeah, anything.
But I think in summary, from my point of view, is like when Obama decides that he's going to sort of pseudo Obama administration rewrite history, and there's plenty of examples of him going back and inserting himself into history, like with his writings of all the presidents and their achievements that are all similar to him. He did that, and now he's saying that Muslims are interwoven into the fabric of our founding fathers and all that because, Jefferson had a Quran. But it was kind of like, from some of the stuff that I've heard, he was like, look, I just want to know who these people are and what
that's
they're
like
all about,
somebody 200 years down the line, they're watching the archives of hashtag TMS Live because the whole world has changed based on the things that we said, and they kind of look back on us like the founding fathers at that time, and they go, well, Kyle owned a copy of Mao's Little Red Book.
Yeah.
He might have been a communist.
Well, yeah, or the other thing is I took martial arts for a while, and they taught weaponry there, and there are 6 stages of mastery for nunchucks in Hoshin Seoul. I only completed 1. I got the fundamental one, and the schedule changed. I couldn't stay with it.
So you're a fundamentalist.
My girlfriend, but my girlfriend owns nunchucks. So let's say we die. Somebody comes in the house and says, "Oh, well, that was part of Nancy's life. She owned nunchucks. Nancy has no idea how to even hold the damn thing.
She was a ninja.
Well, she owned nunchucks, so she must have been into martial arts. He owned a Quran. He read the Quran. He was an intelligent man. It doesn't make any sense. How many people? Mark Dice, if you don't know, those don't know, he's a Christian political commentator. Mark Dice has repeatedly said that he owns the Satanic Bible. What? So if he was to die tomorrow, it's tied into who Mark Dice was, that he owns the Satanic Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
I actually, Leo that was on the show before?
For sure.
Leo owns I believe owns the Satanic Bible, and he keeps it buried in the woods. He doesn't want it in his house, but he wants to own it. Yeah.
No, that's what I was saying the other day on the show about on my show is that if I was shot tomorrow, they wouldn't be able to say, oh, he was like a Muslim and all the Muslim community rallies around my death because that's one of the things that happened this week is that Obama refuses to call ISIS Islamic terrorists, but then when the Muslims die or get shot in America in that confrontation, which seems like it was over a parking dispute, and I had it up earlier. Kyle, have you ever heard the term stray voltage?
No, I haven't. You mentioned that at the beginning of the show. Yeah,
definitely. If you can cover me for a second, I gotta try to find that link.
Yeah, I'm curious on what that is, and yeah, it is hilarious that they won't call it Islamic extremism, even though if you actually look at what ISIS stands for. Islamic is the first word.
Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, is that correct?
Yes.
Or the Levant, Kyle, we've
Islamic
talked
State
about that
and
before.
Levant. Huh?
Or the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIL, which now is no longer an acronym in the news. It's just one word with capital and lowercase lettering. It's capital
into the
I.
dictionary.
Kyle, I would like to suggest that we call them the nondescript religion of Iraq. Can we do that?
Yeah, nondescript religious, but possibly non-religious activist group who wants things affiliated with one religion, but that they do not necessarily affiliate with. It's a long acronym. Guys in the desert with monkey bars, let's just call them that. They always have monkey bars.
And again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because it was D-Lake that mentioned that this has been rescinded. It doesn't look like it's being done. But Paul Joseph Watson wrote on February 10th that there was a grandfather that they were trying to get exhumed after his burial offended Muslims. The family did not want the man buried anywhere near them because he was not Muslim. And yet the family knew when they bought into it that it was a multi-denominational cemetery. I mean, it's not necessarily a big deal in the scheme of everything else we've talked about, unless, of course, you're that family and you're dealing with this kind of extremism all the time. That's how it trickles into your country.
You know what I'm gonna do? When I die, I'm gonna have it in my will. I'm gonna declare that I've transitioned into Islam, that Allah is the light and all that. I'm gonna get buried in a Muslim cemetery, but then, like, in my will, there will be like an envelope, and it says, like, don't open this envelope until 1 year to the day after I've been buried. And you open it, and there's an SD card in there, and it says, like, upload this to my YouTube channel. Here's my passwords and stuff. And it's just me, like, ha, not really Muslim. What are you gonna do? Fuck with people from the grave. That's all I want to do.
If you're gonna do that, then you should be cremated so that you could be speckled over everybody's sight.
Oh. And there's nothing they could do. You can't get every grain of me.
No, and it's on.
That's
Guys,
the way to go. Thanks, yeah.
I wanted to get to this term stray voltage. I put it in today's title, and
what's with you and Glenn Beck today?
Dude, it's Stu on there. It's talking about stray voltage. Look, they call it stray voltage. Now, I'm not going to get into what they were talking about, Glenn Beck and all that. I'm just going to get to what Stu said.
Oh, I know what stray voltage is. There's a lot of teen pregnancies that happen because of that, right?
Okay, look, no, it's a media concept that is real, that the White House uses. It's a media concept called stray voltage. It was probably invented by the Clintons, for all we know. I don't know if they're using it in this case, the case of Barack attributing the deaths of the youngsters in America because they're Muslim, when it seems like it was over a parking dispute, but then not attributing Muslim or Islam to the terrorists of ISIS, whose name is the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. But the concept is that you intentionally do things that cause media controversies. So I'm sitting here describing the controversy. They call it stray voltage. They specifically throw you off the trail, and you intentionally say things that are bound to create back and forth between the sides, like this, where in this particular theory, you intentionally, inexplicably, don't say Muslim terrorism, so everyone is talking about whether you're saying Muslim terrorism, not the actual issue. Could that be it? Could it be that?
Oh, okay. So it's
because it's so inexplicable, they know no one thinks all Muslims are doing this. They know that. They know, look, we talk about it on the show all the time. This is a small percentage of the Islamic Muslim community known as ISIS, but you can't prescribe the religious aspect to all Muslims because you'll offend the 99.9. Right, Kyle?
So it's essentially like the idea of the analogy is like you put a big steel pole up into the air so that when the lightning hits, it hits that pole instead of where it should really hit. Like you're
right.
Pulling people's focus away from the real issue by talking
Everyone's
about
looking at
something.
the big pole.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
I mean, stray voltage. It's like we shoot off lightning in all different directions so that you're scatterbrained about what's really going on, right? We create
Yeah,
this
no,
false controversy so that all we're talking about today is that.
I'm not going to say that I necessarily believe that's what's happening, but that sounds very possible to me. I'm going to keep
Stray
that.
voltage sounds like a reasonable political theory.
Metal band? Sounds like a metal band.
You know, I thought of another interesting analogy. What do you guys
Sam, you
think
should
of
change the name of your band to Stray Voltage.
I should. There's there used to be a convenience store. It's a very, very small place. I mean, probably couldn't hold more than 30, 50 people. And I mean, 50 would be a real cram. I'm going to go with 30. And there's some kind of what looks like Arabic language written on it. It's been peacefully down the street for like, I don't know, probably 15, 18 years now. Before that, they had like, it was just a convenience store that you have in every city with a video game in it. I used to always check quarters in the video game. Well, I had thought forever that it was a mosque. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And the other day, I realized it was so little that I told Christelle that it might in fact be Sikhs, which I didn't know until a couple of years ago, in fact, are not at all Islamic. I thought they were a subdivision of some Islam. They're not related to Islam at all, even though they look almost exactly like Islamists. Absolutely no effect on my life. Thinking they could be Sikhs, thinking they could be Muslims. As a matter of fact, I still don't know which one it is, and it doesn't affect my life. That's a good way to tell if somebody's an extremist or not, because if that were to have made a huge difference, then that implies that there's something wrong with you.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, because have any of you, do you guys have a lot of Islamists and Sikhs and things like that where you are?
When I was in DeKalb, I had quite a few friends who were Saudi Arabian exchange students. They grew up in Saudi Arabia, and they came out here to get an education. I knew Shia Muslims from Saudi. I knew tons of people. I had like 5 friends. All their names were Mohammed and one Ali.
For sure. Yeah, I live in San Diego, the melting pot of the United States, and there's all kinds of Muslims here. I even looked it up online before. There's whole communities of Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims here in San Diego.
Yeah,
they have
I was
their own
actually
little
talking to
separate
a guy,
communities, and we all live peacefully and happily and ride the trolley and everything.
I was talking to a dude who was like Middle Eastern descent at my work months and months ago, and we were talking. I mentioned that I was a libertarian, and he said that libertarianism is like really, really like Muslims, not all Muslims, but a lot of Muslims are really interested in libertarianism for a few reasons. One, because they see within their culture these people like ISIS who like insist on just complete control. They want to control everything everyone else does, and so that's like a huge turnoff, and libertarianism is the complete opposite. And he also said, anytime he's talked to somebody who proclaims himself as a libertarian, he says those are the ones that like aren't nervous around him, like Democrat, Republican, whatever, no affiliation. Like people are kind of like, oh, are you one of them Muslims? Are you one of the bad ones? But libertarians are just like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm a libertarian.
Dude, I was watching a video that was one of the head guys of the Libertarian Party, actually. It was right after Obama's State of the Union address. I mean, the guy kind of looks like a Charlie Hebdo cartoon of an Islamist. He's got, I don't know, I don't want to describe his facial features, but he looks of Middle Eastern descent, I would say, to be fair. But, I mean, everything that the gentleman was saying, I was, like, in complete agreement with, you know?
Yeah, and by the way, like, my Saudi friends out in DeKalb, like, most of them, which I, like...
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you look like, it's what you say.
Yeah, and they know that their country's fucked up. They know that the kingship's fucked. Yeah. Most of them do. Some of them were brainwashed, but most of them, you know, they were aware of the situation. They're aware how much better it is over here. Like, they're people, you know? And Saudis are super, super nice. Saudis always say thank you, how are you doing? Like, they're very, very polite. They always pay for everything because they're millionaires. Anytime I'd go to the bar, not the bar because that's, you know, against their religion. They would never go to a bar, and I would never accuse them of doing so. But when we go to IHOP, like, they would, like, they'd pay for the meal. They'd insist. They'd be like, I got this. I'd be like, oh, you don't have to do that. And, like, you'd see that look. Like, you work at a gas station, bro. My dad owns oil. Like, I'll get it. They're always super, super nice, though. Like, I judge people by how low their pants are from their waist, not by the color of their skin.
Yes.
Kyle, we have you for a limited. Kyle, we have you for a limited time today on this return show, Return to the Media Speaks channel.
Yes.
Dedicated
on YouTube show.
Dedicated to Jaeger. You know, I hear he's hung like a lighter. I'm just want to put that out there.
I've heard
Yeah,
that too.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that's going around.
Yeah.
On the internet.
Hi Jaeger, we're back. All right.
I saw a meme about that the other day. But can we transition
I heard it's
now
in the
into
Islamic
entertainment?
State.
Well, we only have Kyle for a limited time.
Yeah, let's talk some entertainment. What have you guys been watching?
Well, can we get that entertainment theme song, Kyle?
I'll make one. I promise. I've been
I'm
really
gonna keep
busy.
harassing you. Kyle, can you
I've
put
been
on
working
your,
on Flash so much.
Well, can you play that video as the intro to the entertainment section? Do you want me to set it up?
Can you pull it up? I'm not set up to play video and audio.
Okay. All right,
I
here.
can only do one. What'd you say?
I have an entire entertainment section, but I feel like we need a good way to set this off. So I'm going to set up Kyle's what he's been working on. Actually, the reason why we do not have a entertainment section theme song is because Kyle's been busy learning Flash. Kyle, can you talk a little bit about that for a second while I set this up?
Yeah, Flash is software that's on a computer. You put it onto a computer and then you open it, and it's like within the computer, this software is able to take pictures, and you take these pictures and you put them in a sequence that creates the illusion of motion.
Keyframes.
Keyframes. Good old keyframes. No, don't go to make sure you go to the YouTube one, because the other one was unfinished, the one that I posted to Facebook.
And do I go to Nose Hair?
Yeah, Nosehair 515 on YouTube if anybody wants to go see the freaky deaky shit I do when I'm not talking about politics. While you're pulling that up, yeah, I've been busting my ass on Flash. I want to make cartoons. Cartoons are fun. As all of us
I love Flash. I loved Flash when I was in college. I literally loved it.
It's a lot of fun.
We have you for limited time today, Kyle. We have you for limited time today because you actually have a Nano Teacup Chihuahua video proof. That should have 1 million hits. I don't understand why it doesn't.
I don't understand either.
Some of your videos, Kyle, are so great. I don't understand. Oh, Apartment Trek. That's a good one. I don't know why they don't go. I don't know why they don't go mega viral. This only has 15 views.
I don't know, D-Lake.
Have you seen Memento?
I have seen Memento.
Yeah, great movie.
All right, here you got it. You got it loaded up, D-Lake.
If anybody is watching, I'm sorry. You got that first.
Girl, whatsoever, because friendship is magic and stuff, but right now I'm just working on loving myself and being an independent woman, because if you can't love yourself or whatever, then how can you love someone else, you know? Oh my god, Sash, ketchup.
Okay, Kyle, exactly what does that mean right there? Oh my god.
Oh,
how can you love someone else, you know? Oh my god, Sash ketchup on me, ketchup. He wants to make me into a spike slave. I should run away.
Oh my god, Kyle, what the hell is this?
I'm telling you, he is a brony. I'm telling you, he's a brony.
Okay. Hold on. Let me play.
Whoa! Don't stop it there. It's like the nose is in his butt. That's like wow.
Kyle, is that you singing?
no, that's Michael Fastbottom or whatever. Michael Fassbender.
Oh, Michael Fassbender. Oh yeah. What?
Yeah.
Magneto?
Yeah.
Put your arms around me, fiddly digits, itchy britches.
Dude.
Now is that Frank?
That's Frank, who is played by Michael Fassbender.
If you don't have time, if you're thinking about joining ISIS and you don't have time to watch The Wall, do mushrooms and watch this.
Yeah, that's even better. Yeah, Michael Fassbender played Frank in the movie Frank.
So, oh yeah, you said last week it was someone I would recognize. It was Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
That's really good, Kyle.
He's awesome as Magneto, and that's actually a really good segue into my entertainment news this week.
Yeah. What do you got?
I have breaking entertainment news. Next year, there's a film coming out called Superman v. Batman, or Batman v. Superman.
Really?
Yeah, with Ben Affleck.
And Ben Affleck is going to be Batman, everyone's favorite.
They're fighting?
And Superman, yeah, the V indicates kind of like a court case. It's not verse, it's not VS, it's just V. Kind of like in court.
Roe v. Wade.
I thought they were making a what if.
And no, it's a movie coming out. It's called Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Yeah,
As in
they're
Justice
getting
League.
ready. It's pretty obvious they're getting ready. They saw the success of the Avengers, and so they're working towards a Justice League.
Right. And this week in today's breaking entertainment news, here's our first look at Jason Momoa as Aquaman. And he looks like a serious badass. There's Aquaman. What do you guys think?
Aquaman is like the
Like
problem.
Aquaman.
He fucks up the Justice League because he's the one character that you're like, really, Aquaman?
I like Aquaman.
Here's a comic book picture of Aquaman on my screen.
Okay.
Here's our first look at Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Now, the picture says, Unite the Seven. There's a classic comic book Aquaman with the new Jason Momoa. Kind of cool how they incorporate his tattoos, his shielding.
I may actually watch this, I'm telling you.
Now, does Unite the Seven, it's a double entendre because does it mean Unite the Seven Seas? Or does it mean unite the seven characters of the Justice League? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Other than Green Lantern and Flash, the other 5 characters are rumored to be in the upcoming movie.
So is the Green Lantern going to be Ryan Reynolds, or are they going to reinvent?
See, there's been a lot of speculation about that, Kyle. I'm glad you asked. Ryan Reynolds is going to be Deadpool in the new Fox movie, and his portrayal of the Green Lantern in that movie was really crappy. No one liked it, and there's little doubt. There's little. No.
I thought he did okay. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, and I'm not.
It wasn't his fault.
Fan.
It wasn't his fault. It was
yeah, I'm neutral. Ryan Reynolds, I go back and forth. He's made some stuff I like, some stuff I didn't. But Green Lantern, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was all right.
Are you a fan of?
Sometimes you can only do so much. Like I thought that the acting was great in Ghost Rider, and that was the only thing good about that piece of crap, stupid-ass movie. I mean, it doesn't matter how well you do. You can only polish a turd so much.
Yeah, like I would
Ghost
never
Rider
go see,
2.
if they made an Aquaman movie that was just Aquaman, I would not see that.
No,
I
would. I absolutely would. I absolutely would.
I'd see it, but it wouldn't be good.
They're talking about, Kyle, they're talking about Momoa briefly appearing in Dawn of Justice and Wonder Woman briefly appearing, and then them both in turn having their own solo movies, and probably movies where Aquaman and Wonder Woman crossover movies as well.
Oh, if they make
Wonder Woman,
siren, and they can make a siren and have to kill it, that'd be kind of...
See, like Wonder Woman and Aquaman are hard characters because, like, the movies, like the Avengers and stuff, like the Avengers has some level of okay, this could be real, some suspension of reality.
Like Thor, he's a god from Asgard, yeah. So that's.
But you can't really, within the realm of suspending reality, have Aquaman.
He's the son of Atlantis. Come on.
Again, yeah, there was an Atlantis, and I like how things keep going back to last week. I've also heard, although I have not seen it myself, that there was a hollowed out Earth sort of reality for him in one of the books too. The graphic novels, I should say.
How do they do Wonder Woman? Where'd she get her invisible jet, and how's that possible?
She's going.
You have to write the invisible jet out. The old television show did her decently.
You could do James Bond had a car that could turn invisible using cameras and reflective technology. They could
Yeah, but
do it,
there's
I
something
guess.
you'd
But
have to get rid of. Aquaman, you got to get rid of the talking animal, the fish and shit. You have to either go with
No, that's
Hollow
tight.
or Atlantis.
No, I
you
want to
gotta
see
get
the
rid
part
of the.
he like stops.
Well, what I would do though, instead of invisible plane, I would do something to the effect where they some weird form of like camouflage where it's very hard to see and it's not picked up, maybe not picked up on radar,
Yeah,
and
but then
kind
where'd
of
she
give
get the plane,
homage
Sam?
to it.
Did
But-
DARPA just say, "Hey, random superhero woman, here's a plane"? That's not happening. Where'd she get it from?
Okay, you guys, simmer down. In the upcoming Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus. They're going with like a Greek goddess type of motif.
Now, see, that is dumb.
To battle the Odin.
That's a dumb one. Yeah, I don't like that one. That's not a good write, and that's exactly what Kyle was afraid was going to happen, I think.
Yeah. I have to
that's
disagree
stupid.
with Sam though on one other thing.
Stupid.
I don't want to see them right out talking to animals. I would like if there were like aquatic-based terrorists
Yes.
who like are doing things in the ocean and like
No,
you know
yes,
like,
totally.
the bad guys in Captain Planet style, and like after like Aquaman
no.
defeats them, like
Now,
it's dolphin.
I'd be willing to
Dolphin
bend
comes
it.
up to the water and he's just like, ah, and he just nods like, yeah, no problem, dolphin.
I'd be willing to bend that if you worked into the Atlantis thing, that the animals aren't afraid of you any more than some squirrels aren't afraid of you in your backyard. But beyond that, it's going to be dumb if they do it.
Sam,
I hope
Sam,
they do it.
guys, listen to me. Sam, I don't want you to come off as not too intelligent about Aquaman here, so let me try to fill you in. Momoa seems to have taken to the role like a duck to water and is poised to make his grand entrance in next year's battle between Batman and Superman, possibly to berate any of them if they try to take their sure-to-be destructive battle to the shores. If you don't know who Aquaman is, Sam,
I do know who Aquaman is. I have like a few.
as detailed in the Crisis on Infinite Earths continuity, Sam?
Oh.
Aquaman is the heir to the Atlantean royal family who was conceived after his mother, the Queen Atlanta, who was unable to birth children with her husband, King Travis, was impregnated in a dream by the immortal wizard Atlan. One of the founding members of the Justice League of America, Aquaman has the ability of enhanced strength, reflexes, and agility, and the ability to telepathically communicate with sea life and anyone on Earth, and is obviously not bad at swimming.
Yeah, well, but you're missing it.
Underwater like Kevin Costner?
Originally, the Joker fell into a vat of acid. They have worked that in so that it's a little more, what Kyle was saying, believable. Some of that is going to have to be streamlined, or it's going to be really bad, is my point.
Sam,
And there are other comics that have versions of Aquaman in different ways.
Yes, and the Joker's origin was just actually retold this past week in The Blind Fortune Teller on the series Gotham on Fox. Man, Sam, you got to keep up with this stuff.
All right, I want to see in this movie.
Well, that only further proves my point, D-Like. You have to mess with sometimes the original is just a little bit far-fetched by today's standards.
I agree, but you have to be careful to do it in a way that it's not going to piss off the fans. But I want to see in this movie, I want to see Aquaman like uses telepathy. Like there's a monkey, right? And like. And Aquaman like looks at the monkey and he like touches his temple and he like looks at the monkey and the monkey just bursts out laughing and he's like, good one, right? Like he just told the monkey a joke with his mind.
That's what I don't want. That's
everything I thought the monkey would be laughing because his telepathy doesn't work on him because he's not.
Oh yeah. Monkey's like, you dumb idiot.
He's like, I'm not a dolphin.
Do I look like I live in water, bitch?
Do I look like I live in the water?
So it only works for like aquatic animals?
Yeah. I mean that's no. Actually, it says in here that it actually works on humans as well. So I'm sure it would work on monkeys. But let me go back to my screen share just one more time to close out the.
Well, we're the aquatic ape. I don't know if you know that.
To close out my, humans swim, right?
That's actually like the theory is that we're the aquatic ape. We're a ape that lived closer to water and in water for hunting and stuff, and that's why we don't have hair all over our bodies. We're the aquatic ape.
Yeah, that's why swimmers always shave their legs. Hey, do you guys see my screen share? Is this a good look for Aquaman? There's a classic comic and then the new Jason Momoa. Oh, heck yes. He looks all right, I guess. Or why must there be changes?
Well, you can't make him the cartoony Aquaman.
No, we're gonna do this democratically. Kyle, do you say, "Oh heck yes, he looks all right, I guess," or "Why must there be changes"?
I don't like the way that's worded because I think that's as good as it could be. So I'd say yes, that is a good look as far as making a realistic Aquaman can go.
Okay, so you sound like he says he looks all right, I guess. Sam, what do you say?
Heck yes, absolutely. I like it very much. I'm hoping they, again, I hope they make they streamline some of the silliness out of it because he looks like he could be badass if they do.
Okay, I agree. So Sam and I get the vote, and we just check marked that. All right, there we go. That's all I have in entertainment. Well, what did you have, Kyle?
I watched Frank, which everybody should watch on Netflix. It's kind of a weird movie. I'm not sure if I liked it or not. It was really, really hipstery, but it was an interesting movie to watch.
What about you, Sam? What do you have in entertainment?
I forgot to watch Tusk again, but I watched Memento, and I had not seen it. I've had a couple people tell me about it. If you haven't watched it, I will say this. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't get a drink. Don't sneeze or blink while watching Memento, because it'll take you 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes to figure out what this movie is doing. Then you're fine, but it keeps doing it. It's just a very odd movie. I will say this, it's told backwards, but it's told backwards in such a way that it's more suspenseful than if they had told it forwards. Usually when a story is told backwards, you've already got the ending and it takes a little away. That's not. All that does is make you ask more questions. So watch Memento.
There's two movies that you should check out, Sam, if you like Memento, or one movie and one video. What's that movie?
Memento, like a 10-year-old movie, right?
No,
yeah, it's pretty old.
What?
No,
it's a good movie.
Then it might not be the right one. This one I think is 2014.
No, Memento was like late 90s. It's
No. That's not the same one.
The story told backwards, Memento, Sam. That's like 10 years old.
I don't believe.
Yeah, that movie. It's he's got tattoos all over his body, right? That movie's old, man. That movie was like. It's a good movie. Here, it was 2000. Year 2000 is when it was made.
I didn't think it was that old. Because it was given to me by somebody that I work with that absolutely loved it and said that she had seen it at. Well, it was some little indie fest thing she was at. But anyway, she loved it and told me about it.
There's a movie, like maybe you've seen it. It's like the Lookout.
I've never heard of it
Lookout
before.
is what it's called.
It was Memento was Christopher Nolan, like before Batman movies. He made it.
Sam, watch a movie called The Lookout from 2007. It's got fucking Joseph Gordon-Levitt before he got super famous. It's kind of a similar movie. You'd like that a lot. And
What's it
also,
called again?
it's called The Lookout.
All right.
If you like Memento, you'll really like that. And also, look up a video on YouTube. The whitest kids you know, what do dicks look like? It's like their parody of Memento. It's hilarious. It's Memento, except like he doesn't remember what dicks look like, and his friend keeps over and over convincing him that he has a mouth-based video
Well, I'll
game.
tell you why it's such a good movie, because the person that told me of Memento was only 19, and she was under the impression that it was a new movie. So that's kind of cool.
It's not an old movie.
Kyle, I love The Whitest Kids You Know, but I don't think I've ever seen this movie, The Lookout, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It looks pretty powerful. 7.1.
It's really good. Like, to try and not give it away, like a basic synopsis is that he has only short-term memory. Like, he has like his long-term memory was lost in a car accident, and so he has to like walk around with a notebook and he writes everything down to himself so he can remember things. And he's like a smart dude, but like with only having like with no short-term memory, like you're kind of fucked in reality. And like these people take advantage of that, and they pretty much try and make him like their scapegoat for a robbery. Like they're gonna pin it on him. Yeah, Patsy. And that doesn't give too much away.
Chris is once promising high school athlete whose life is turned upside down following a tragic accident. As he tries to maintain a normal life, he takes a job as a janitor at a bank, where he ultimately finds himself caught up in a planned heist. Ooh, I'm gonna have to watch this one. Yeah.
Decent movie. Memento, I think, is I don't know. They're very similar, like the same genre.
I like that movie, Memento, though. I was just saying.
This is the opposite problem.
I've liked it for a long time now.
All right. Anything else you guys have been watching? Anything new? Have you guys watched that new show? What's it called? Fucking Fresh Off the Boat. I haven't watched it yet, but I plan on it.
I've been watching Gotham.
I've been watching a little bit of Gotham. It's all right. It's good stuff.
To close out last week, I finished the documentary on Caligula. This is an interesting side note on the importance of political satire. Obviously, he was in the line of Caesar. His name was not Caligula. Caligula is the Italian word for booties or little kid shoes. In England, she refers to them as bootikins. It's basically like calling him little boy boots, because he had these Roman sandals, and when he was a little kid, he was teased about them for some reason, and then it stuck with him throughout his life. And the political commentator, or the equivalent of his day, referred to him as Caligula. And the woman said that he would be mortified to know that he was remembered today as Caligula, and nobody ever refers to him by his Caesar name. Which, if you remember the stories I said last week about what a despicable person he was, it's wonderful. So, I mean, never downplay political satire, because sometimes it outlives the tyrant. Sometimes you do win in the end.
Yeah, no, there's actually a documentary. I gotta watch it. I just saw an advertisement for it that was about
Friends
people,
isn't the documentary.
About people in the United States who still had the name Hitler.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right,
Maybe
Kyle, you got to peace out. What's going on? Why don't you wrap us up so we can get out of here? I got to go too.
All right. Well, we're on the internet, so.
So yeah, if you don't find us on the internet, and make sure that you're watching this on themediaspeaks.com on YouTube, because we're back. We're back, bitches.
Yeah, we're back on the MediaSpeaks.com on YouTube, themediaspeaks.com. At The Media Speaks on Twitter, The Media Speaks on Facebook. Just type in The Media Speaks. You will find our shit. You will. Also type in Noser 515, and Sam has some things that you should type into the internet box.
Not just that, youtube.com/thecorrectviews, but our listeners, please remember now, both videos will not be posted on my channel. I will be doing the live video feeds on one channel and the HD on the other, probably the HD on the Media Speaks, so that Kyle and D-Lake will be sharing it. So it's going to be the live on my channel. Remember,
and everyone can find those videos posted on Planet Infowars, right?
I'm in a lot of different groups there. Yeah, I usually again, you guys, if you haven't done it, you should, because you guys are way off on the traffic that's on that. I mean, it's not like massive, but it's enough that I haven't missed losing Facebook. Again, most of the people on Facebook have subscribed by now if they wanted to.
Sam, I want you to get into Twitter. Follow at the correct.
I have Twitter. I hate it.
Now you have to. I've already told people to go to it, so now you have to make a correct views Twitter.
I hate Twitter. I hated it when I had it. I absolutely hated it. I was very unhappy with it.
Follow at the correct views.
I would use Twitter if I ever went back to Bilderberg, because I do appreciate the way you can use it for protests and things. But otherwise, I hate
information. All right.
Hated it.
All right. So find us everywhere except for on Twitter.
We're on Twitter. We're on Twitter at The Media Speaks. I'm going to set one up, and I'm going to start posting stupid shit under the name of The Correct Views, and it will force you to have to take over that account.
Hashtag Twitter hater.
I had the correct views, and I think it's shut down due to either inactivity or I forget how to get in it.
We're going to have a seminar where I teach you guys how to use Twitter.
I absolutely hated it. No, I detested every second I was done.
Follow at Cara Sudar Bruta, which is my Hispanic woman alias on Twitter. As far as Twitter knows, I'm a Hispanic woman, so yeah, that's fun.
I'll open a Twitter the next time I go to a protest.
Yeah, just search D-Lake for Prez anything in the news, and you'll find one of my videos.
All right, is that everything? What about passing time?
Thank you greatly. Yes, no thanks to me. The band is trying to. We lucked out. We have a record label looking at us, and they have a marketing company. You put $1,000 into it, and they see to it that you're in a certain number of places, and you usually end up with more money back than what you put in. And then, of course, you have they put you on Spotify. They do all the things that you normally need an agent for. Well, look up Passing Time on Kickstarter, and we are $100 on our way to our $1,000 goal, and we'd appreciate your help.
Nice. So Passing Time on Kickstarter and all over the internet. I think that's it. I think everybody knows where to find us. If you don't know where to find us, then how did you find this? That's my question.
That is a great question.
All right, any last words, brethren?
Don't run away and join ISIS.